Welcome, Juergen.
How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm doing fine. How are you there? How are you guys doing?
Very good. I know you had travel plans, but thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, thank you. So again, screen 2, there you go. So guys, we have Dr. Juergen Boenisch with us. We welcome you, Juergen, to our group. We got full class of 15 people here today.
Yes, sir. That's a goal, and we're going to get there. So we're beating our competition. How is this possible? So now let me talk a little bit about the foundation. So everything we're doing is based on the Toyota model. And if you follow the model, then you will get the results. And this is what this house shows. So the house has got a very strong foundation. It has 2 pillars and it has the roof. And the roof is basically what you want to get at the end. That's the result. However, you must focus on the foundation first. And there are 2 aspects for the foundation: stability and standardization. Then you have got 1 pillar on the left-hand side, which is called just-in-time. Toyota calls it just-in-time, which has to do with the tools you use. It's about the intellectually understanding of the tools for improvement to produce some results. This is not, the tools are not simple, but I call it that's the easy part. The more difficult part is the Jadoka part, which is basically automation with the human touch. It's the people side. It's a respect for people. It's a culture. It's a behavior. It's all this sort of fuzzy stuff. You know, how do I deal with people? And you know, nothing you can find about it, and there's no recipe. And it's sort of, that's where people struggle with. However, if you don't address the people aspect, you will not achieve sustainable results. You will get nice results here because you know the tools, but after a while the whole thing collapses because your people don't carry this. They couldn't care less. So they just do their daily business again, and then they move away. By the way, let's go back here. So so let's talk about the outcome basically. So what we're doing is the tools on the left-hand side, guys, is a catalyst. You have to use the tools as a catalyst to engage your people, and that's a trick. And it can be anything. The tool can be anything for you. It can be anything you're doing every day. So if you got a tool for improvement, if you got a supply chain calculation or anything else, it doesn't matter. Or even if it's, you know, you start emptying your own dustbin in your office and carrying out to the trash can. So use this what you're doing there, the tangible stuff you're doing, carrying out your trash can, and getting others engaged by doing it. This is the trick. So coming up with an approach, creating the tool, and watching other people using the tool, and then you engage your people. Anyhow, so the outcome is customer focus, of course, with quality, cost and delivery, and safety and environment and morale as well. So that's the trick. So this house tells you everything. So the problem is, how do you do this? How do you implement? What does it mean standardization, and what does it mean stability, right? It's not that complicated. So the Toyota house is based on these 2 foundations, and improvement is only possible if you get stability around the 4 M's on the standards. On the stability. So the first one is men and women, your employees. Most important. If you don't take care of your people, we cannot deliver goods and products at all. No service. So people are crucial. And why is it called under stability? What it means is that if your company or your department or something else, you know, if your people don't show up to work every, you know, second day or every week or every month, they just don't show up. You got a serious different problem. You don't talk about improvement because your base is not set. You have to get stability in place first. If your machine, your equipment fails unexpectedly, you know, once every 3 days, you got a serious issue there because you have to work on maintenance, you have to make it stable, and have to get your machines running first. Material, if your supply chain, you know, if you don't get your material predictable, and you expect today and comes in next month, which is, by the way, a challenge right now, a serious challenge. The global supply chain is very, very difficult to manage, and we are, while we made it through it for the last 18 months, pretty good, we do see the impacts now, mostly domestic supplies, not international from our motherships, that are sitting in Thailand and Germany. But we see it's very challenging right now for you guys on the supply chain. And the methodology. So you need some recipes for making products. So these are the 4 M's where they have to be stable to a certain degree. They don't have to be perfect, not at all. But again, if your machines and your equipment fails unexpectedly every second day, well, you can't talk about improvement because it's just dragging you down. So that's the outcome here on the stability. Good thinking, good product. ABC company, that's an example. We had issues with the culture there. Not too much, but the material management didn't work, and the methodology, like standard operating procedure, didn't work. So you have to fix this first. So now let's talk about the standardization. What is that? The next one. So standardization is basically your playbook. It tells you about how to build products or how to serve customers. It is the safest and easiest and most effective way of doing the job or doing the business. Most effective way you know about today. Again, don't make it too complicated. It doesn't matter where you put the standards. The standards could sit in the basement. It doesn't matter. The only thing you have to document them. So the standards can be very, very basic, just describing how you do something today. If you don't have a standard, you can't measure against the standard to improve. So it's very important. There's no one best way of doing things. Workers should design the work. The workers write the standards of work, and you just look at them and put them in the right format, make them look nice and so on, play it back to the workers and say, hey, is this how you do your job here? Is this how you put stuff together? Yeah, exactly. That's how I do it. So that's engagement again, guys, the right-hand side. So standard operating procedures is a tool. You're asking your people, hey, how do you build this thing? I mean, you may know how to build this thing, but that's not the point. The guys on the front line are building this. So you have to ask them, hey, how do you build this? Can you tell me? And then write it down, document this, right? So the purpose of standardization is to provide a basis for improvement. ABC company, again, there was simple and visual SOPs are the basic. You need this as visual management. Relevant key performance indicators are missing. We're missing there. And here's another thing if you that you should take away. Seriously, very important. It is if you cannot measure it, you cannot improve it. If you cannot measure something, a KPI, don't even try to improve it. Because what it's called is wishful thinking, emotional discussion, and it's a dream. You cannot improve anything that you cannot measure, first thing. So that's why we talk about standardization at the basis. You have to create a standard first. Like baking a cake, right? When you bake a cake, you got the recipe, which is sorry, you got the ingredients list and you got the recipe. So the recipe is a standard. Hey, you follow the recipe and you bake a cake, and if you're lucky, your cake comes out of the oven slightly larger than you put it in. Should be at least. Okay, so now let's move on to the next one. So let's talk about the pillar, the left-hand side pillar. Improvement tools, intellectually understanding of improvement, and produce result. Coming back to the cake baking example, the recipe normally is pretty good. So you follow the recipe, you got the tools, you got the ingredients, and you just make it happen. And if you don't screw up too badly, you get a real cake out of the oven. So this is a recipe. That's the tool that you can understand. You read through it. Hey, I know how to do this. You get some eggs in there, some flour, and hopefully it works. And the other side is the respect for people's side. This is way more difficult because there's no recipe. Actually, there is. There will be one slide later on, one single slide. And if you remember nothing else of this entire presentation, just remember this one. I come back to this. So there's a recipe, but it's more difficult because it's fuzzy. It has to do with humans. It has to do with, why do you do this? Why do you behave like this? I don't understand this. I told him 7 times to do the thing, but it's still not done. What's happening here? So it's very tricky. And then you get both together as a catalyst, you use the tools, and then you get huge results. Okay, just in time, only one slide. I'm throwing a bunch of words at you right now. I'm not going into the details of any of them. I'm just telling you there are many tools out there. And after, for sure, is going to already told you and sort of educated you on many.
We'll cover those, yeah.
Yeah, it covers them. So many of them are lean tools, Kaizen, SMAP, sustainability, Six Sigma, you name it. What I'm trying to say is there are many standard tools, and the lean tools are amazingly good. These are the best tools in the world. If you follow them, you get your results. They might not sustain, but you get your results. So on the right-hand side, where's the right-hand side here? It's more the culture, way more tricky. So just a couple of slides on the right-hand side. So the human side should be based on coaching, right? And the best coach out there, at least at that time, was Socrates. Coaching and teaching based on iterative questioning and problem solving is following the Socratic methodology. So what the heck is that? So when you study Socrates a little bit or Google around, this guy, there's an example where this guy taught students mathematics. He taught students mathematics by not telling them anything. He taught students mathematics by just asking questions. Unbelievable. Why? Because you engage by asking questions. When you ask questions, you engage and you show respect for your audience. Very important. Okay, you don't do in a normal world, in an industrial world. If you do it like Socrates, it might take a little bit long. So, but it gives you the idea of what it's all about. It's about asking, right? It's named after the classical Greek philosopher Socrates. Form of inquiry and debate between individuals with opposing viewpoints based on asking and answering questions to stimulate rational thinking. So it's about stimulating rational thinking. As soon as you get asked something, you have to answer. If you've got many people in the room, they start debating and you find the solution. That's engagement. That's how you get the right insight under control, and that's how you get people involved. It's difficult. So that's the slide I told you about it. If you remember only one thing, seriously, about the entire presentation, take a snapshot and screenshot of this one, what I'm showing you here right now, and carry it away. And it will help you so much on the human side, and you can apply it in companies, you can apply it at home with your family, you can apply it to your kids. It's all the same. All right, here we go. So the first approach is when you want to improve something, if you want to run something, if you want to, manage a department and you have got people underneath you, you have to provide the big picture. You have to provide the big picture. What is the big picture? Well, it can be a lot. It can be the vision of a company, the overall vision. Like I told you, we are going to be the number one in the world. The number that would be great, maybe in the world too. But we are the number one in the US in 5 years' time. That's a big picture. That's a very aggressive goal. I mean, people might say you're nuts, but it's doable. It has to be big, but it has to be doable, but it has to be outside the reach for today. So you have to provide, it can be something else. It can be the goal of a project. Hey, you know what? We are going to improve our supply chain on our warehousing. Why? Because we have to get our accuracy up. We have to our imager accuracy, our cycle count accuracy has to go up. And that's my goal, and that's our goal, and that's, so it can be anything. It can be the goal, it can be the vision, it can be the reason. People that work for you are running around with a big question mark on top of their heads. You can, next time, I'm not sure you're not supervising too many people right now, but you're getting into this because you're on the right track here. But you stand there and watch your people after you said something, after, there's a project launch, and you just sit there and watch your people and then visualize a question mark on top of their heads. Everybody has got it. Why? Because they don't understand the vision, maybe. They don't understand why you're doing it. You have to explain the why. It's not about, we want to be the best in the world in 5 years' time. No, there's more to it. Why do we want to do it? It can be anything because it's fun, because we're going to beat the competition, because it secures employment, it opens more opportunities for careers within the company. You name it. You have to figure this out yourself. The why. Why do we want to do this? Anyhow, provides a big picture. And here's another one. The next one, number 2 step: ask for understanding. And the key is on asking. As I mentioned before with Socrates, he was asking questions. Toyota is asking his employees questions. They're not telling you the answers. Yeah, there are some standard operating procedures. Actually, there are a lot, of course, But basically, they're not telling you to figure out improvement. They're asking questions around it. How do you maintain quality? Okay, I'm doing this and this. How do you know there's a bad quality? I'm doing this and this. Have you had any bad quality? Oh, yeah. What do you do about it? What else can we do about it? It's all about asking. You know, when you're a manager, you don't have to be better than your employees because you're not. You don't know how to put stuff together because they're doing it 24/7. So ask for understanding. So you provide the big picture, the vision, where you want to go, explain the why you want to go there, and then you say, hey, guys, doesn't make sense. And some people, no, I don't get it. And then you have to step back because the maximum speed for improvement is the maximum speed your people allow you to move. And most likely you can run faster than your employees intellectually. And then you have to just bite your tongue and move backwards because the maximum speed for improvement, sustainable improvement, is the speed that your people allow you to move. So you have to ask. Number 2, that's the affirmation process. Number 3, engage for action. That's the normal stuff. That's where you really, you know, where the rubber hits the road. That's where you do something. That's where you improve things. That's where you run a Kaizen. That's where you run, you know, single minute exchange of dice or whatever you want to do. That's the real stuff. That's the fun part. That's where you know, do something. Well, look at this 3 steps and ask yourself, and maybe you know some companies. I tell you something. Most of the companies start with step 3 all the time. All the time. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? You got a problem? Let's fix it. I know how to fix the thing. You know, there's something leaking. Why is it leaking? Oh, I don't know. Let's plug the leak. Or something else. It's, you know, or another example. You know, why is the machine not working? Oh, the machine is not working because the fuse blew. Put a new fuse in there and put a larger one in there, and there you go. The real point there is the root cause is not the fuse that blew. It's basically a leak somewhere, and the machine is running too heavy, and you know, and all these sort of things. So these are the 3 steps. And what you get at the end, you harvest basically people engagement, and you harvest sustainability, and you harvest the culture of improvement, and you harvest the spirit that you want, and you got a team. That's what you want. So take a screenshot on this one, guys. And if you remember nothing else on this planet, take this home with you and play around with it. Try it next time. Try it. Yeah. Provide a big picture. Can be anything. Can be a big goal. Can be a vision. It can be something small to a child or something. You know, who wants always to eat chocolate or something. You know, provide a picture to achieve what you want to achieve. If you want to achieve less chocolate, provide a picture about, I don't know, I have to make it up. I don't know. You know, they're the world champions. They eat lots of vegetables or something else. You have to, it has to make sense, right? And then try it out and then ask, you know, does it make sense? Little one, yes or no? Probably doesn't make any sense, but but it will work. Asking works all the time. Anyhow, so I just came across a statement from Elon Musk when people ask him, hey, how do you run your business and how does it go there? And here's what Elon calls it his 3 steps. Articulate a big vision, break the vision into smaller steps, and focus on what went right. So it's very much similar. The similar thing is definitely the vision. That's a killer. You have to provide the vision, the why, the purpose, the reason, you know, and all these other things. And then you break it down in smaller steps so people can digest them. If it's a larger corporation like SpaceX, yeah, you break it down into departments. What do you mean we want to fly to Mars? Hey, what do you mean to purchasing? What do you mean to hiring, to HR? What do you mean to, you know, the R&D guys? Hey, you better get a rocket going that can lift a certain amount of, you know, whatever weight. So you have to break down the vision. And then you focus on what went right. So what this means is there's a phrase out there, you have to catch your people doing something right. It doesn't make any sense to criticize the people. It does not, it doesn't help you at all. And if they screw up, you have to bite your bloody tongue. Yeah, of course, you know, they can't screw up every single day. Of course not. And if they're idiots, let's call it, then there's something else wrong because you failed on the what I said at the beginning, the standard we got in there and the reliability. So you've got idiots on board that really can't do anything. Well, you got a different problem. But no, catch your people doing something right. Don't catch them doing something wrong. Just ignore it. Just ignore it. You have to catch them doing something right and tell them right away, right there, not a week later, right there when you catch them. And then that's what Elon is doing here. Same thing, same approach, big picture first. Good. Something about Edward Deming's here. There aren't too many options left, but it's not necessary to change. Survival is not mandatory, right? So if you don't want, lean manufacturing is the only viable company philosophy and culture change methodology out there, I think. Everybody's doing one way of lean or the other increasingly. Well, you don't have to, you know. If you're in a niche market, you can survive a little bit longer. But if you don't do anything in this direction, you won't survive a long time. That's what Edward Deming said, very famous guy. Now, let's maybe look at let's have a break here quickly. Are there any questions about this, what you saw so far?
Yeah, go ahead, guys. So Jürgen, just to give you a quick glance at the participants, they're all professionals working in different industries, textile, Amazon supplies, and pharmaceuticals, and warehousing distributor. Very, very knowledgeable group. We are really very happy to be with them. And we have just by names: Ali Saeed, Amir, Atif Javed, Junaid Khan, Mohammad Hamza, Noman Bawani, Rashid Rahim, Raza Abbas, Shaukat Godel, Suhaib, Yaqub Khan, he's from Qatar, and Zanil Kirani.
Okay.
So guys, ask questions, get engaged, because anything, it's amazing what he's presenting, really mind-blowing, and I use it all the time in our studies and our work. But yeah, ask questions if you have anything in mind, please.
So you guys are full in business. So I was sort of visualizing more students, but that's great. So you're in it. You're there, and you probably experience some unexplainable things with your people. Why things don't move in the right direction, and you wonder, I told him 100 times, why on earth is he not?
And like what you said, you're going to the outset, that's very important that the tools and processes that we study so diligently, they are nothing but catalysts to engage your employees, your peer. They develop their own solutions, and they are the masters and kings of their processes. They know better their process than anybody else can do. So let's not teach them what they do. Let's activate their minds and provide the tool that they need. Actually, that's the service we can provide.
Yeah, the people are smart, right? So when you look at the speed of improvement, for example, and trying to go back to this house again quickly. There's this house somewhere. When you look at the speed of improvement by using lean tools, the left-hand side, the tools, like you can pick any tool. It's very fast. So when you put it on a chart, on the x-axis you got the time, and on the y-axis going up you got the improvement, right? So it's going up very steeply, very fast when you use the tools. So when you overlay the human side to it, the people side, the change of human behavior, and put it on the timeline, it's not moving at all. It goes, first of all, very, very, very slowly upwards, and it's like an exponential function, while the just-in-time is more logarithmic. So it doesn't do a lot. When you apply these approaches by engaging your people, asking questions, all the stuff. So it's you don't see a change fast. It's slow, but then eventually it picks up faster and faster and faster. And when you visualize this curve and overlay both, what I'm trying to say is that you need the tools at the beginning to get going, and that's a catalyst. Because if you don't produce measurable results within 3 months, that's a magic timeline. Within 3 months, where people feel, hey, it's better, it helps me. If you don't achieve improvement in any improvement project within 3 months, you're losing it. You're losing the people completely, because it's just another flavor of the month, and it didn't work either, and they do something else. So now, however, when you play the tools for engagement right and respect to people, they take over at the end. They get so smart that you don't need the tools anymore in this way, because they're so smart, they find the right tools, and you can move mountains with these guys. And that's called culture of the company. And if you want to create an amazing company, you have to focus on your people, and support them. But anyhow, I'm talking too much. So are there any questions out there?
So I have one question that in today's world, what we're seeing is that we're usually uh, moving towards an automatic system which doesn't involve human involvement in our processes. So how does that reflect on what we're looking at right now?
That's a good point. That's a good point. When Toyota started, they started in the 30s actually, when they came from the loom business and you know they did fabric, and then they visited the US and saw the supermarkets and so on and so on, and then they decided overnight we are getting out of the loom business, we're getting into automotive. They had no idea. They didn't know how to bend a piece of metal. Pretty bold. Anyhow, so then there came the time of the Industrial Revolution where GMs and Ford started putting robots in place to weld. Toyota didn't do anything for a long, long time. Why? Because they said, we don't put robots in place at this point because we need high-skilled people just watching the robots to work. It doesn't make any sense. So coming back to your question, the principles are the same, and the companies are not running without humans, right? The humans will be there somewhere. They're higher qualified, they're doing different jobs, and so on. In theory, I think there are a couple of companies that try to run a production site only based on robots, but you have people in there. I mean, you always have people somewhere. You have to. I think it's a matter of finding out what these people are doing in such an automated world. Everything is, you know, virtual, sitting at home, which brings up another problem, by the way. The entire last year being remote. So you will always have people. I mean, if you don't have people anymore, well, then you don't need any green pillar. And then you don't need to motivate anybody anymore because you're already perfect. Then how do you innovate without people?
Can I add my thought on this as well?
Yeah.
So imagine a company that engages 1,000 people with step 1 in automation. Then they go to step 2 in automation. Now they have 800 people, 200 find some other thing to do. Those 800 people are doing the same thing or more of what 1,000 people used to do with the help of machines. So as human beings, they shoulder more responsibility of decision making, direction, and more leverage. Now the company moved to step 3 in automation. They've got 500 people. Company is growing, more dollars, more money, more customers, fewer people in the company. Each person become more important in terms of alignment, direction, responsibility. So the more need for engagement, the more need for activation, the more need for ownership. I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just touched on it. Our company in last year, March, we went from one day to another 95% remote, working from at home. And we are producing. We don't have a machine shop here in the US. We are assembling. And so we even moved, relocated the assembly tables into private garages to the people. Why? Because the state basically here, Pennsylvania, the governor shut down every manufacturing company. So, and then I said, wow, that's pretty interesting. What do we do now? And then I said, I think we are smart enough to figure something out here. So let's get our brains together. So that's what we did. So basically we decentralized immediately. Only had a couple of guys in the warehouse, and based on that, there was an exemption for warehousing and logistic companies. They were allowed to stay open. Then we applied for an exception from the governor, Wolf, which we received. So we never shut down a single minute. And we had our last best year last year. Our competition did shut down. So coming to the human side, when it came up, okay, I was pushing, of course. I would say, well, you're not shutting down. Come on, guys, let's figure something out here. That's way too easy to shut down, and we did, or they did, we all together. So again, it comes back to the human aspect of it. So a normal company with a bad culture, and I know many of them, people that come at 8 and leave at 5. You know, they come at 8, clock in, turn off their brains, and leave at 5 and turn their brains on again. I know companies like this.
Yes.
They wouldn't have been able to do this, not even remotely. You can't even let them work alone at home because they couldn't care less. So that's only possible if you got the right culture. And it can be a large company or a small one. It's all the same.
Yeah. We had when we went.
So we pulled back into the office. I'll tell you why in a second. Because there's an effect that we learned. That is pretty interesting. But anyhow, so when it reopened here a little bit in Pennsylvania, we pulled back into the office, and then we said, okay, how do we do this now? And then I suggested we running a hybrid. You guys did prove that you can work at home, and they like it. Some like it. Some actually want to be in the office more than at home. And I said, oh, we do in a hybrid. So 2 days at home and 3 days office. And then I mean, the US it's very difficult on the legal side. You have to watch out very much about the legal guidelines and what you can do as a company CEO and what you can't. So we talked with my legal guys and bounced it back and forth. And then I said it one day, so John, his name is John, what do you think? What are the other companies doing? What days do we let them work from at home? And what days should they work in the company? I said, well, one thing is important. Fridays and Mondays, they must go to the company. I said, why is that? Because when they work at home, they take day off and long weekend and so on. I said, John, thanks for the advice. We do exactly the opposite. So we did Friday and Monday home and the rest of in the company, because I told them, I trust my guys, and they've proven that 15 months now, working from at home, we do exactly the opposite. So again, you can't. You cannot do this with every company. But here's something that is a huge drawback, and this is very interesting because it's the green side. So 15 months plus virtual world, you're losing the green side. And I see it now being in the office again for whatever, a couple of months. The culture is more tense. The communication is the biggest one. Communication is not sufficient. Even if the time you spend in the virtual world on Teams and Zoom and you know what, went up exponential. I spent 80% of my time doing nothing else and sitting on Zoom talking to the guys. We lost the communication, we lost the engagement, we lost the culture and the spirit to a high degree. It's not dead, of course, but you see it when you talk to guys, there's tension, there's uncertainty. So the entire virtual world might be good, and we produced great results, and we got all the IT tools and video tools in place, and infrastructure at home and for the guy. That's the tangible side. The tools are there. We did a heck of a job. We did a very good result, but the human side is suffering. It's like a flywheel. It's like a huge flywheel.
Right,
so
right.
18 months ago, we had a good flywheel running pretty fast, good spirit. We went for dinner and we had some fun and did other activities. And then COVID hit and we went remote, and this flywheel slowed down during the time. It just slowed down. The green flywheel slowed down, and we have to get it up and running again pretty fast. And that's why I'm very hesitant and very worried as well, because the development in COVID in Pennsylvania over the next 5 weeks are not looking very positive. It's going the wrong direction, and I have no idea what we have to do in a few weeks. I try to drag it along. Of course, we can go tomorrow. We can remote 100%, but we are losing on the other side too much. I can tell already. So I'm dragging it along. We are doing staggering now. We split in half. The people are, every other day another group is coming in. So that's the downside of the virtual world. I'm not sure about the other companies out there, but I bet they got the same issues going there.
I mean, we have folks here in the group here who work in manufacturing and distribution, and it would be interesting to hear from some of you guys, like manufacturing sector, Atif and Noman and Rashid Rahim and Yaqub in Qatar. And what would you see, like how much your company has been working remotely, and what are your take on it? Like, you think can continue indefinitely? How much was remote?
Yeah, sir. I would like to add something here that
Please.
we are an export-oriented company, and we used to, before the COVID started, we used to visit the international customers, the European buyers, the Far East, the Middle East countries. But definitely in the wake of COVID-19, it was not possible for us to visit all such customers, right? So all the meetings have started. Remotely through Zoom, through Team software, and right. But definitely the thing as a salesperson, as a marketing person, I missed that opportunity because the personal selling, personal marketing definitely makes the difference
Yes.
at times, and certainly it hurts at times when we are just having the meetings virtually and not meeting them personally. So
Yeah,
as
you can
far
see the
as
body language,
yeah,
You can see the
exactly,
body language, just the face. So,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
And about the operations, fortunately, being an export-oriented company, we just stopped the production for a month or 2 months. After that, we resumed the operation because we got the license to resume our operations from the government of Pakistan. So, as such, as far as the production operations are concerned, it was not affected as such, to be very
Okay.
honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some again. It's again the green side. It's not the orange side.
Yeah.
It's the green side. This is the tricky part to manage. And for you guys, I guess as well, it's not about finding out where you want to bring your department or company. It's more how do you bring your people along. That's more
Yeah.
challenge, I think.
And also what I
Yeah.
felt.
You are absolutely right, sir. But one thing I need to add here that most of the people, down the line staff, the middle management, they are afraid of asking questions
Yes,
even
it's a
to
cultural
the
thing.
senior. So yeah. This is very important to, as sir said, that we have to develop
That's
a
a
culture first in the organization.
Yes.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. That's an excellent point. And people call it culture change. I mean, that's what we're talking about, which is extremely difficult. And I'm fully with you. They're afraid to ask questions. When I
Yeah.
came in 2014 in this company, it was ran by a general manager in command and control, like a general and soldiers, and he
Yeah,
ran it against
exactly.
the wall. No, seriously.
Yeah.
And I remember the first months. I remember exactly the first months. Great people. So we had a problem. So conference room, we got this problem, product, you know what? And they explained what the problem is. What shall we do? They asked me, what shall we do? So I looked at the guys. I said, what do you think we should do? And I saw in their faces, and this went on for months. They wasn't sure what I'm saying. Why is he? What is he doing? I mean, he has to tell us what to do now. Seriously, I'm not kidding.
Yeah,
It was like,
exactly.
and I was sitting there. Said, guys, I have no clue what you're doing. I have no idea. How can I tell you or suggest anything how to improve it? So what do you think we should do? I mean, let's get our brains together. It took months, and they realized that they can say something and suggest something. That's exactly what you're saying. So it takes time. As the green curve on the timeline is very slow at the beginning, but and some people give up too early. But when you see, on a water cooler, when you have a drink of water or something on a kitchen, and you see the behavior of a person is changing slightly, a little bit, asking questions, or in a meeting, very little changes you see maybe, and this guy's asking something. It can be very much. You have to hang in there. That's the first sign,
Yeah.
and then it picks up and it picks up and it picks up. It takes time.
And it's so strangely how it ties back into the tools. See, the philosophy of sharing information, transparency, one goal. There's nothing to hide there. There's nothing to be afraid of. We're on the same
Yeah,
boat, same platform.
yeah.
So if we have a forecast of sales, we have a personal plan. Hey, we all on the same boat. It's not that I want to make 10, you want to make 5. No, we all want to make 8. Let's agree on that. Then there's no fear.
People are worried when they make a mistake, that this has consequences, or they get fired or something.
Right.
Exactly.
I'm not
Yeah.
telling you anything. I'm hiding it. That's on the lean side, for example, when you do single piece flow, you see the mistakes immediately, but it's not the people mistakes because people only make 15% of the time mistakes. 85% is the process. So Toyota was asked, Tahiti, I think it was asked, what do you expect from your people? So they asked the top management, what do you expect from your people, from your employees? And then he said, we expect from our people two things. Come to work and pull the cord. So what does this mean? Come to work and pull the cord. So pull the cord is the end-on cord. The end-on cord is on the assembly line. It's a string. It's a string going along the line. When you pull it, the assembly line stops. In some cases, when you pull it, the supervisor will be there in 15 seconds max. In some cases, they stop the line. So what does it mean? It means when you see something on the line that is not up to standard, a defect, you stop the line. And that's exactly what he's saying. So you have to speak up. Hey, there's an error. If I did it or not, it doesn't matter. I stop the line, I stop the process, talk to my supervisor and say, we got a problem here. It's an education process. It doesn't happen overnight. You know, it's trust. So how do you gain trust and respect? By asking, not by telling, by asking. Just ask. Yeah. I want to show you a few pictures here quickly. Do we have a few minutes?
Yes, yeah, we have time. I think we just okay. 5 more minutes will be okay, Juergen.
Right. Yeah, I'm running through. So when you look at the supply chain, and you guys in supply chain, I understand most of you, the question is how can you improve most effectively? Well, being in supply chain management, you have access to the highest spend of the company. That's the biggest amount of money leaving. So you got the company in the middle, supplies come in from the left, and products go out to the right, right? And labor costs. So you got the revenue coming in, 100%. Normally around 50, 55, 60% of the revenue is a material, huge amount of money, right? So if you can influence this big stream of money, 55%, if you can influence this in percent saving, every single dollar basically you save has a direct impact to the bottom line. Every single dollar is increasing your profit right there. So you are in a unique position there because you have got access to the spend of the company and you can influence this. That's pretty big. I'll show you some results here, a little bit older, but we did different projects. You don't have to go through all the things here, but the savings are in the neighborhood, 63%, even in the neighborhood of 36% we had, $360,000. And at that time we were less than 10 million revenue. So it's big. It's a systematic approach. Here you see a little bit logistic savings in 2016, Thailand, Germany. I'm just flipping through it fast. So cost saving overall, 69%. LTL outbound on the outbound side. Unbelievable. So it's the money that's leaving the building. Big lever. A small one here, HTS codes. HTS codes are codes you have to use for declaring what category your product is for duty. So your duty is based on your HTS codes. Well, but just looking at the codes, we optimize them. We're not classifying this wrongly. No, it was the other way around. Everything was classified as aluminum lamp pole or something else. Like LEDs are free of duty, so we just reclassified. So it's a matter of, and then 3 years later we did the same thing again, another 25%. Unbelievable, right? So I'm not. This is boring stuff here. Garbage, waste management, 42%. I mentioned before, what gets measured gets done. You have to have solid KPIs in place at the beginning. It's like the standardization I talked about. You have to be able to measure this in quantified terms. Otherwise, you cannot improve because it's a dream, it's a visual thinking, it's an emotion discussion. And I would bet that every single one of you on this call had these emotional discussions. Hey, is this better now or worse? Oh, it's way better. It's way better. How much better? Oh, yesterday it was worse.
Yes.
But today is better. I bet everybody on this call had this emotional discussion, opinions. You can't work with this. So anyhow, the first thing you measure, you should measure. It's only one single thing: on-time shipment to the customer. because the customer is basically the person feeling the pain. And if you're not shipping on time, it's painful. So just start measuring one thing, on-time shipment. What you will find is that you will find something. First of all, you quantify and you see how you're doing. And you have to reach 95%, by the way. That's industry standard. But then you find, oh, on-time shipment is bad, but there are no screws to turn. How do you improve it? And then you say, what are my leading indicators for on-time shipment? Well, that's inventory accuracy. This is engineering drawing accuracy. This is work instruction accuracy. So you find the 3-4 parameters that are driving your own on-time shipment, and then you can find the screws. So that's, I don't want to bore you with all the charts here, like this one. Yes, and
can I ask a question? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
please. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, sir, with respect to your comments on the on-time shipment, currently being a export-oriented company, we are facing a lot of challenges with respect to containers availability, vessel emissions. So, vessels are escaping every week, and containers are available in very poor form, or normally they are not available. So it's very difficult for us to maintain the exact contracted schedule for the customer. So how do you see the future of this shipping chaos?
It will get better, of course. It gets better. In the moment, all the containers sitting in the US, it seems to be all the empty ones, and nothing sitting on the other side anymore. It will get better, of course. And I would, sure, everybody now has got supply chain issues and impacted. And I would call it under the foundation, stability. We are not stable right now. So you can't do too much about it, other what you do already. You're just trying to find, I mean, that, as I said before, we are getting hit increasingly by domestic material shortages, not the international ones, because we got pretty good supply chain guys, and we are proactive, build up inventory. But like copper and cable, certain copper and cable, you overnight. So we ordered cable, lead time normally is a week, we don't have it. Lead time 52 weeks. And I said, what? So and this makes it very difficult right now to see the time that even your suppliers have no idea when they get the raw material. Everybody is sort of clueless. So coming back to your point, of course it gets better. I think we have to just limp through it for another, give it 3-6 months. I think towards the end of the year, beginning of next year, it will normalize. Of course, it's not going to be like this forever. It also depends a little bit how COVID will develop. I mean, the US is doing pretty poorly, and but you can't do too much about it. I mean, you're doing the right things already. I bet there's not much more you can do. Oh yeah, I mean, the creativity, I think, is improving, and people come up with new ideas. Yeah, it will. And I mean, let's face it, it will never get back to the normal we saw before.
Yeah, things are changing.
I can only talk about the US. I'm not sure about the rest of, I mean, of course, Canada and Germany and so on. I'm from Germany, so I can only talk about the US. And I think what we see right now, that's it. That's it for the next 2 years. That's what I think. I mean, it's getting a little bit better, but the problem here is there are no countermeasures visible. And that's highly political, the whole situation. It's the country's divided.
Unfortunately,
it doesn't help. It doesn't help. So
yeah. But things will sort out, like you said. Definitely, people will find ways to do business that will new norm at a better place. I think we'll get rid of a lot of inefficiencies because people were forced to go through life. For example, adopting the communication technology. It has been there. Zoom has been there for years. So has been WebEx. So has been, but we were not using it because we didn't have to. Now at least we know how to use it. And even when we go back to face-to-face meeting, we'll know we have the tool and we can use both as needed. So we have learned a lot, the world.
Yeah. It's an interesting time, but we will survive. Absolutely, yes.
Yes, well, we'll come out stronger, I'm sure.
Yeah. So, and I think we get stronger. Getting out of it, I think everybody got stronger.
Absolutely.
By facing it. Yeah. Any other questions there?
Yes, sir. I want to add one thing.
Yes,
during the discussion, as you mentioned, that there is a need to ask questions, and because I think there is a need to change the environment and change the corporate culture as well, because you know that change always comes from the top, but implement from the bottom. So sometimes it happens that somebody wants to talk and somebody wants to come up with the good plan and the opinions, but the culture didn't allow, and the environment didn't allow, the corporate culture didn't allow for the particular company. So there is a need to change the culture. I mean, educate the top management as well, because through books we learn a lot for the supply chain, but to implementation and to implement in the real time in a real manner, there is a big change required. And secondly, as you discuss about the GIT and the lean management, I think the information sharing, we can, in fact, we can replace the inventory with the information. And for the GIT, there is the information sharing will play the vital role.
Absolutely. Wow.
The problem you're explaining, I'm in consulting for, I don't know, 20 plus years. That I got calls from middle management, guys I know, can you come in, have a look? And it's the same thing. So they have got good ideas, but then I said, we come to the point. I said, okay, so what do you think? What's management thinking about it? Oh, they don't like this lean, and they think that's a problem. There's a German phrase: the fish starts smelling at his head first. So yeah, it's very difficult to change from the bottom up. It is possible, but very difficult. You can do it again with open communication and the business driven by ROIs, return on investment. So if you can make a case, financial case, based on improvements that is really rock solid, people may listen earlier to you on management than by just, again, if you can measure it and quantify it, you can change it. If you just, asking for general, hey, I have an idea, I want to do this, and you can't quantify this for management, it's very difficult. I'm not sure if this helps too much, but you can do, I saw there are also famous books, you can come from the bottom up. If you've got a department that is more or less isolated and you're running lean there on your own and you see the results, there are examples where this was a showcase for the rest of it later. But it's difficult, I do agree.
Yes, it's very difficult.
Absolutely.
So survival is not mandatory. eventually management will figure this out. Eventually, yeah.
Yes, so there are so many examples, and everybody knows, everybody wants to implement the Kaizen, the continuous improvement. We talk a lot about that, but to implement these in a real time, the culture should be changed and the management should be realized. And from the bottom, I mean the worker or the employee, anybody can come up with the good idea and the good opinion, and at least they should have the forum to share these ideas and with good plans for the betterment of the company.
Yeah.
So these are the changing required for the culture and corporate culture especially.
Yeah. The people, all the people on board are good people. They're not bad people on board. They're not coming to work to screw up the company every morning. They're not. I mean, they turn off their brain because nobody's asking them anything, yes, but they're not coming to work to screw the company. No, they're good people. You just have to work with these guys. Yeah, think about it. They come in the morning, turn off the brain, and walk home at 5 and turn it back on, right? And the reason sometimes I hear is when you talk about some improvements, no, you can't talk to this person. He doesn't know anything about it. He's just doing, some mechanical work. He can't. But when they go home with their family, they plan a vacation maybe, including a flight to point A, renting a car, renting a hotel, going to point B and point C. They do an entire logistics supply chain on their vacation. And it works, and they catch the flight, and they get the car, and they get back home on time, and they cannot do anything in the company? Come on, guys, give me a break.
That's right.
Sure, they can do something.
So true.
You just have to
So
ask
true.
them. You know.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Oh, it's interesting. But it's a fun part. You know, that's the fun part. If life would be easy, if everything would be easy, your competition would do it. But
Yeah.
they've got the same problem. But you're on the right track.
Agree.
I mean, with after and the training, you got the basics. I mean, you really have to nail it and work with your people and just try out the asking thing. Just try it out for a week and see what's happening. Make a little bit of a plan and say, hey, what's the problem here? A small one. Don't think big. What is the problem I'm trying to solve? Or I want to install I don't know, a new way of manufacturing or a new way of. So okay, that's my goal. And then you find the reason why. You have to figure out why should I do this? Why do I want to do it? How do I explain the why to my people? And these two things, and then you just go out there. Hey guys, I got an idea here. What do you? And then you explain it, and then you say, what do you think? You just said, what do you think? What do you think about this? And then if they're open, they might say, why should we do this? It's working, isn't it? Never touch a running system.
Yeah.
So you have to be smart. You have to figure out why. You have to answer it ahead of time in the office.
Exactly.
You have to come to work and pull the cord. That's it.
Exactly.
Pull the cord. You know, if
So
you
we
see
have to
something.
discourage the bossy culture, and we have to discourage the bossy culture, and we have to adopt the leadership.
Yeah, exactly. And I like what you said, Noman. Very, very important that the typical phrase, replace inventory with information. Wow. That's what you're saying. Yeah.
We have so many examples, sir. We have so many examples like Dell, like HP. We can go through with the internet and we can see the videos. We can see the warehousing of the IKEA. They replace the inventory with the information. If I talk about my company, we have storage issues for the cartons, for the finished goods, and we just share the dates, the need by dates with the vendor, and in fact along with the time. So the vehicle come at 10 a.m. sharp, and our required product in-house with the production floor, and at the second end the finished goods are ready and they are ready to load in the container.
Well, that's just
So
in
there is
time.
no need to warehouse. Yes, there is a
Absolutely.
just in time. There's a big example of just in time.
Absolutely.
That's great. How long did it take you to get there? How long did it take to get to the point?
I mean, it depends on the product. If we I belong to textile company, and we made the textile product. So it depends on the product. I mean, if we are making, if the particular product required much time, then the finish product reach to the final destination slow. And if the product is, I mean, the institutional product, which there is no need to special packaging required, so it reached fast at the end of the packaging point. So
Yeah.
it yeah.
I
So
think also the
the
question was
and
how long did it take you to get to that point where you can do just in time? Many years, many months? Like how long did it take to get to that stage where you can do just in time? You develop your employees,
sir,
vendors?
actually, invention is the mother of need, right?
Yes.
So when we reach to the point where we have the cartons of, and we have done some blunders as well. We have the cartons of the next month shipments which are in house, and we have the cartons which are going to be shipped tomorrow. We don't have the place, and there is a lack of planning also. There is a lack of forecasting also. So what we have done, we have shared the information with the supplier. We have shared the information with our production department, and we have shared the information with our warehouses and the final warehouses where the goods has been stacked for the final loading. Everybody is on board, and everybody knows the actual shipment date, including the procurement department, including the planner, including the fabric warehouse, everybody. So there is no chance for the any error. I mean, there is always a chance for the error, but the chance of error we have eliminated up to 99%.
Yeah,
Unless
by sharing information and by making more transparent. One plan for
yeah,
everybody.
yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah.
Transparency and being able to measure it in quantified terms. Yeah, you got it. That's a trick. It has to do with statistics. I mean, Elon knows this from you got the right teacher there anyhow, so you got everything you need.
No,
So,
I'm learning a
yeah,
lot from my team. These are great teachers themselves, and they're doing it. They're doing it in the field.
yeah.
So it's amazing
Yeah.
experience that
That's the
everybody,
difference between
not everybody
theory
had
and
a chance to
practice,
speak,
right?
but everybody has great insight.
Yeah.
During the course,
Yeah.
everybody has brought in excellent points from their own
Yeah.
experience. So that's how we all learn together. We come out more successful. Great.
And there's
Thank you so
another
much.
aspect
Yeah.
of the
Go ahead.
green side. You
Yeah.
know, you have to enjoy what you're doing at work. You know, you're spending 8, 10, how many hours at work, and you guys as well. So it's not. I mean, it's not fun always. That's the wrong word, but it has to be enjoyable. I mean,
Yeah.
and how do you make it enjoyable? By respecting the people. You know, think about this Toyota guy who can pull the cord, and he's a normal worker, right? He pulls the cord and stops the line. So guess what's happening in the evening when he goes home and has dinner with his family? He's saying, hey guys, you know, we had an issue, and I shut down the production of the entire plant for 15 minutes or something. This is very powerful.
Yeah.
So,
Look at the power.
you're
Contribution. Yeah.
empowering the people
Exactly.
by raising their voice and say, hey, it's a problem, I'm pulling the cord, right? So it's
I
very,
don't agree. Yeah, I
it's
don't agree
key.
with this quality.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He's saying I don't agree with this quality. I don't accept the customer receiving this bad Toyota. I want to stop it. Look,
Yeah.
so he's totally in line with the senior most level of the company. How
Yeah.
can it be wrong? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
Again,
Yes.
the good cultures impact the good corporate cultures in positive impact. This is because they empower this person to challenge this product, and ultimately he's challenging the top management for the sake of the customer.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's what key word is, that leadership exists at every level. You don't have to be a CEO to be leader. The leader can be on the machine, can be at the guard actually. A driver can be leader of behavior, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You look at your internal, external customers, and then you start working with it. Try it out. It works.
So,
Let me know if it works.
So
Actually, let
there
me
is
know
no
if
harm. There is no harm to be a CEO, or there is no harm to be a director. But the thing is, we should. If I am the CEO, I should respond instead of react. I mean, something happens to me or something come up in front of me. Being a CEO, it's my prime responsibility to be a responsive person instead of to react anything
yes,
if there is some mistake or there is some. I mean, you can understand.
that's the behavior, exactly. Now, a little bit over time. Thanks so much, guys, for staying with us. But very good discussion, very insightful, and we learned a lot, like always, Jürgen. Thank you so much for your talk to us today, and it's totally technical. We talk about the tools, the instrument, but also the underlying principle that if you do not respect human being, you don't work with them, it's gonna fizzle down. So it's gonna be owned, maintained, or you won't see an underlying change there.
Yeah. No, thanks for having me out here, and thanks you guys to listening to this. And you know, you find me if you got any question, ask after. You can contact me directly. If you Google long enough, you find my email somewhere or
Yeah,
on LinkedIn. Any question you may have, no problem. So let me
sure.
know
So
if you got stuck. If you got stuck somewhere with this human side, I also like to know what's happening out there. So if you got some good news, if something did work, let us know, please. Yeah.
that's great. So I'll share your information with the group. That thanks for permission. And also, if you be sharing this presentation with us, Jürgen, so I can share this with the group. That'd be great.
Yeah, I can set it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again for being with us, and
All
everybody
right, guys.
have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so
Great
much.
day. Great day, and
Sir, we learned a lot, and thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much.
anytime.
Thank you, sir.
All the best.
Thank you very much, sir.
Great.
Safe.
Thank you very much. Thank you, both of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Safe, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.